Hello, dear students. Today we are going to learn about our first practical museum study of phylum Protozoa. In this practical, we discuss on there are the four examples that are included in phylum Protozoa. The first one example is Euglena, second Paramecium, third Amoeba, and fourth one there is the Plasmodium species. So we should know that uh, the phylum Protozoa, it means that there are the first primitive animals. We have to know that there is the protozoans means there is the proto means the primitive and zoa means the animals. So that's why we have to call them there is the protozoa. And these protozoans are included in kingdom Protista. Actually, we should know that the protozoa it means that there are the first organisms. They are eukaryotic unicellular unicellular organism. Eukaryotic unicellular organisms. So that's why we have to call them there are the protozoa. So today's practical we discuss on these four examples. Those are included in this phylum protozoa. So the first one example there is the Euglena. Here we have to discuss the classification of Euglena. Here we should know that the phylum Protozoa, because of we have to know that the protozoans are unicellular and microscopic organism. It means we should know that their body is have the only single cell. It made up of a single cell. So unicellular. Uni means the single, cellular means the single cells, and they are microscopic. We uh, do not see on naked eyes. We have to required there is a microscope to observe them. Okay, so that's why we have to call them there is the microscopy. Here we when we have to going the subphylum level, it is a plasmodroma. Why plasmodroma? Because of here we should know that the locomotory structures are either pseudopodia or the flagella. We should know that why we have to call the protozoa are the primitive animals, because of we should know that they can locomote through the help of this structure. There are the pseudopodia which are generally present in amoeba and many other species, and also there are the flagella for examples, in particular the Euglena, they have to the presence of flagella for the there is the locomotory structures. Next, there is the class is Mastigophora. Why Mastigophora? Because of here we should know that they are exclusively flagella bearing animals. When we have to see the figures of Euglena and when we have to observe the Euglena, they have to show that there is the flagella which are the locomotory organelle or the locomotory structures. Next one, when we have to going through order, there is the Euglenoidina. Order is Euglenoidina. Because of when we have to observe these species of Euglena, their body it is covered with thick and stout pellicle, flagella with one or two, or when we have to observe their body, it have the anteriorly. This shows that the various or the number of green or colorless chromatophores are the present on their body. Second one, there is the genus. Here we have to observe there the genus is Euglena. Here we have to not learn about the particular species, we have to learn about that type of organism. There is the Euglena, and basically when we have to observe this Euglena, there is the Euglena viridis. It is a common species which are the found, and we have to study particular this species. But here we have to learn about only the genus. There is the Euglena, it is a type. Next, when we have to going through habit and habitat, here we have to observe them. There is Euglena, it is a microscopic, solitary, free-living organism. It is commonly found in stagnant freshwater ponds, pools, lakes, slow-running streams. They are rich in decaying organic matters. When we have to observe this Euglena, it is typically or generally found only in freshwater habitats. There are the various type of ponds, there are the pools, there are the lakes, and also the slow running streams. Streams in Marathi we have to call zare. So there are the pools, lakes, and the slow running streams. We have to know that where there this Euglena it is found. and it is rich in decaying organic matter. It is rich in decaying organic matter. So there is the habitat of Euglena. When we have to focus on, there are some characters of this uh, Euglena. When we have to observe their body, it is elongated and it is almond shaped. And approximately when we have to observe them, it is the largest. It is 50 to 100 microns, and their body, it shows that the chlorophyll bearing uniflagellate with their the blunt anterior and tapering pointed posterior ends. So when we have to observe the body of this Euglena, they have to anteriorly it is a blunt, and when we have to observe the posteriorly, it have the tapering pointed posterior ends. Second one, when we have to observe the body of this Euglena, their body, it is covered by the pellicle. Pellicle is the outermost covering in most of the protozoans. Like in Paramecium, we have to also there is the pellicle, and it is a composed of a protein. When we have to see their structure of a pellicle, it is a composed of a proteins. Next one, when we have to observe the body of Euglena, they have to the tip of the anterior end. It have there are the small funnel-like depression. There is the cytostome. When we have to directly going through, there is the this figure here. We have to observe them. There is the Euglena have the presence of there is the tip. There is the anteriorly when we have to observe. There is the blunt end, and the posteriorly when we have to observe, they have to show that the pointed end. And here we have to observe the anteriorly, they shows that there is the cytostome. Cytome is the cell and the stoma means there is the mouth like structures. So it is the cell mouth like structures, there is the cytostome, and it have the funnel like depression, so that's why we have to call the cytostome. Next one, when we have to observe the body of this Euglena, where they have to show that there the whip-like flagellum. It is arising from the base of the reservoir. It means there are the when we have to see the position of their flagella, it is originating from there is the whip-like flagella, and it is arising from the base of the reservoir. Reservoir, it means they are at the base of this region, and where we have to observe them the flagella which can show the arises. Next one here, we should know that there is a single large spherical and vesicular nucleus present in the middle towards the posterior part of their body. There is another one important character here we have to observe. The single large spherical and vesicular nucleus is present in the middle toward the posterior part of the body. When we have to observe, there is the nucleus in the Euglena, they are present in the posterior end. Here we have to observe there is a large nucleus, it is the present. Okay. Next one, there is the cytoplasm. When we have to observe, it is a differentiated into a clear, dense outer layer of ectoplasm and the central glandular mass of a endoplasm. When we have to observe, in this, there are the outermost part here we have to see. There is the ectoplasm in this figure. We have to also observe them. There is the outermost part is a ectoplasm, and innermost here we have to see there is the endoplasmic layer. So the outermost part is the ectoplasm, and innermost part we have to call them there is the endoplasm. And the endoplasm, it is the central granular mass of endoplasm, and the outermost layer it is the dense, and we have to call them there is the outer layer of a ectoplasm. Second, when we have to observe in the, they shows that the contractile vacuoles, it is surrounded by the accessory vacuoles are present anteriorly in there are the endoplasm, and these contractile vacuoles are generally helpful for there is the contractile vacuoles are present for there is for the osmoregulation and excretion. They can maintain the water balance as well as helpful to remove the nitrogenous waste products. So there is the contractile vacuoles are the most important part in the protozoans. They can regulate the water balance inside the body. Next one, when we have to observe, Euglena is a mixotropic. Mixotropic, it means they show that the combination of holophytic and saprozoic nutrition. Here we have to observe them. There are the holophytic, it means because of the chlorophyll pigments is present, and they can show there is the photosynthesis, and also there is the saprozoic mode of a nutrition. They can show the intake of the food through as like other protozoans, and they have to prepare their own food. There is, so that's why we have to call there is the holophytic and saprozoic mode of a nutrition, because of their chloroplast pigment is also present. As like a plants, they can show the photosynthesis process. Next one, there is a, when we have to observe in this, there is the reproduction is either by longitudinal binary fission and or multiple fission. There is no sexual reproductions we have to see in the, there are the euglena. So we have to discuss the first one animal. There is the euglena. Generally when we have to observe, they look like this. There is the oval almond shape, their body covered by the pellicle. Body show that the two parts, outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. They have to show the flagella. It is a whip like. Okay, it is arises from the base of this reservoir, and it have, there are the cytostome like structure. It means the mouth region. Second one, here we have to discuss the second protozoans in this phylum, because of amoeba. There is a most of common examples, and we have to generally know that the amoeba. It's when we have to overlook on their classification or systematic position of the amoeba, it is included in the phylum Protozoa. Why? Because of it is a microscopic and unicellular. Second, when we have to observe the subphylum, there is the Plasmodroma as like the Euglena. Because of here, we have to observe their body do not have the such a type of a cilia. So that's why the cilia is absent on their body. Locomotion by the pseudopodia. And we should know that in theory lectures also, we should know that the pseudopodia are, there are the different types according to their structures. So they are the locomotory parts or the locomotory in function. There is the class is Rhizopoda. Why? Because of there are in amoeba locomotory organs or the structures are pseudopodia. So that's why we have to call them Rhizopodia. Okay, Rhizopoda. Poda in the sense it means the locomotory part. There is the order, it is the Lobosa. Order is Lobosa. So the short uh, there is the short lobes or the foliage pseudopodia. There are the ecto or endoplasm is the distinct. So that's why when we have to observe their body, there is the pseudopodia which show that the ecto and endoplasm are the distinct. And it show that the different layers. So that's why we have to call them. There is the order Lobosa. Suborder, there is the Nuda. Why? Because of when we have to observe their body of amoeba, they do not covered by any outermost covering. As like in Euglena, we have to observe there the pellicle is the outermost covering. Okay, the body it do not show the such type of structures, so we have to call them suborder Nuda. Why? Body naked without test or shell. Test means the there is a covering. It particularly found in different invertebrates. We have to call them, there is the outermost covering is the test. And in mollusca, we have to observe the outermost covering or the body covering is the shell. So here we have to observe in this amoeba, their body is naked. They do not covered by the such structures. Their genus is amoeba and the species name is a proteus. We have to generally observe them. There is the genus is amoeba and the species name is a proteus. Where they are found and how to, how we have to observe them. The particularly when we have to see the amoeba, it is generally found in, there are the freshwater ponds and also the ditches. It is abundantly found in water where there are the rich in or decaying organic matter, organic substances like decaying vegetations. So there is the plant debris or any other decaying matter. Those are the found in that water body where there this amoeba it is found numerously. So here we have to observe them. There is the systematic position, habitat. When we have to going through their characters, before that we have to observe their body. Actually, we should know that we have to learn from there are the student life. We should know that the amoeba do not have the particular shape. Why? Because of their body do not have the outermost covering, and where there do not show the, there is the particular shape, because of when they required the locomotion, that time their body it is extending to that one direction. So that's why we have to call them, there are the pseudopodia are the extending that direction, and they can form, there are the pseudopodia. So here we have to observe them. This one is the typical diagrammatic representation of a amoeba, and we have to discuss on, there are the few characters as like amoeba is an unicellular microscopic irregular body shape and appears like a colorless, and it is a gelatinous mass of a protoplasm. As in theory lectures we have to learn about, there is the soul gel theory. In this theory we have to discuss on how the pseudopodia are formed. There is actually the pseudopodias are formed by, there are the gelatinous mass, there is the protoplasm which can move towards the one direction. So that's why they can have, there is the movement of their body, and it form the, there is the pseudopodia. Next one, body is externally covered by very thin, clear, tough, elastic, and semi-permeable covering of a plasmolemma. Okay, when we have to observe their body, their outermost covering of a body, it is covered by a very thin, clear, tough, elastic, and semi-permeable covering of a plasma lemma. In this figure, we have to also observe there is the outermost covering. Here we have to observe it is the plasmolemma. Then when we have to observe, there is a cytoplasm is differentiated into an outer clear dense ectoplasm and inner granular endoplasm. As like in most of the protozoans, their body can differentiate it. There is the outer is the ectoplasm and inner one is the endoplasm. And same like here, the amoeba it have, there is a cytoplasm differentiated into the outer clear dense ectoplasm and inner granular endoplasm. Here we have to observe there are the locomotion, it is a helpful through by the pseudopodia. So that's why we have to also call them lobopodia due to their finger-like blunt and round teeth. We have to already discuss in theory lectures also how the pseudopodia are formed. There is, we have to observe, there are this portion, it is a this area, there are the contract this area, and it is elongated towards this position. So what happened finally, there are the pseudopodia are the extending, and it look like there are the finger like projections, and finally the pseudopodia or the lobopodia are the form. Next one, when we have to observe, there is a mode of nutrition. In the particularly amoeba, they show that the holozoic mode of nutrition. It means ingestion of a food material as like the other animals, and they can show that the holozoic mode of a nutrition. Reproduction, it is occurs through by, there is the binary fission, multiple fission, and sporulation. There are the they can reproduce by this type of methods like binary fission, multiple fission, and sporulation. They have to shows that this such type of reproductions. And why amoeba is called immortal? It is a never dies due to great power of a regenerations. Amar hai. Why? Because of it is amoeba is called immortal because they it never die due to there are the great power of a regenerations. So that's why we have to call them it is a immortal. So we have to discuss the second one, protozoan. There is the amoeba, and it's we should know that there are the body do not have the any type of a covering, so that's why it is a irregular shape, and they have to show that the two layers of body, ectoplasm, endoplasm. Their pseudopodia, it is show that the blunt finger-like projections, and how they can elongate because of this inner protoplasm. It can extending. There is a plasma soul or the plasma gel. It is extending towards the one direction, so that's why it's elongate and the form this finger-like blunt projection. There is the pseudopodia. Okay. Next one, we have to discuss on the third example in this phylum. The third example is the Paramecium. We have to know that it is a very popular and known examples, and we should know that about that. In theory lectures also we have to discuss what is the Paramecium and their type study. In this type study we have to discuss already what is the Paramecium, how they can show the locomotion, how show that their structures. Okay. So when we have to see discuss about their classification, it means the systematic position. Here we have to observe there is the phylum is a protozoa. Phylum is protozoa because of it is unicellular microscopic. We have to already discuss the previous two examples. There are the shows that These two examples like unicellular, microscopic organism. Subphylum, it is a Ciliophora. Why? Because of their body, entire body, it is covered by, there is a cilia, and the cilia, it is helpful for the locomotion. So this shows that the ciliary movement in all the stages. The class is ciliata. Class is ciliata. Why? Because of the entire body, which are the shows that there are the cilia-like structures, and it is found throughout the life. It is found throughout the life. So that's why we have to call them. There are the class is ciliata. Class is ciliata. Next one, there is the order Holotricha. Why Holotricha? Because of they have to show that the equal cilia. They have to show their body is a equal cilia. It means entire body, some parts where there the length of the cilia which is the have equal. Next one, family is a Paramecidae. Why? Because of oral groove is a present. When we have to observe the structure of Paramecium, that time when we have to observe somewhat, this shows that there is a funnel-like depressions. There is nothing but the oral groove, and which can helpful for there the ingest the food material. Okay, so there is the Paramecidae. Next one is the genus. Genus is a paramecium. Genus is a paramecium. Okay, so we should know that there is a systematic position of a paramecium. Next one, there is the habit and habitat of paramecium. Actually, we should know that the paramecium are found in a freshwater bodies, and they are particularly found where it is rich in decaying organic matter, and particularly in the rainy seasons, we have to observe it is in the various ditches, pools, streams, rivers, and continuously it is found in there is the ponds, lakes, ditches, pools, streams, and also the river. But when we have to observe, it is only found in a freshwater water bodies, not found in marine water bodies. Okay, there are the protozoans. Most of the protozoans are generally found in freshwater bodies. Typically, these like there are the ciliates. There are the freshwater ponds, lakes, ditches, pools, streams, and rivers. Next one, when we have to going through these their characters, before we should know that their structure. Actually, when we have to observe these protozoans, it is a look like there are the shape is a sleeper soul like. Here we have to observe there is a sleeper soul like structures we have to observe, and this so that's why we have to also commonly known as a sleeper shaped animalcula. Okay, there is a sleeper animalcula. So when we have to observe their body, it is a microscopic, elongated, slipper shape or the spindle shape with there are the thick pellicle. In paramecium, when we have to observe their body, it is covered by there is the thick pellicle. In amoeba, here we have to observe their order is Nuda, but they do not have the any outer covering. But here, when we have to observe in the paramecium, their body is covered by there is the thick pellicle. Their body is covered by the thick pellicle. It is commonly called as a slipper animalcule. Why? Because of it is a body shape. Okay, it's very simple. Their body shape is a slipper shape, soul-like structures. Next one, when we have to observe their anterior end is a bluntly rounded, while the posterior it is a pointed. Here we have to observe anteriorly it is a blunt end and posteriorly it is a pointed. Okay, and their body it is covered by their the outermost covering is a pellicle. Outermost covering is a pellicle. And here we have to observe somewhat this area. There is the oral groove is present. Below that, the funnel-like structures are the present, which can helpful to ingest the food material. Because of here, the arrangement in the oral groove, the cilia which can arrange in a particular manner or the circular manner, and where they can show the movement and they take food material or make a water current, and they can develop. There is the selection path and the rejection path for the food. And so there is the cytostome, and below that the cytopharynx, and here they can form at the end there is the food vacuoles. In the paramecium, their body is also shows that the two different parts. Outermost is the ectoplasm and innermost there is the endoplasmic layer. Here we have to observe simply there is the endoplasm and ectoplasm. In below the pellicle, here we have to observe some the carrot shape or the chili shape structures, which are we have to call the trichocyst. Actually, these trichocysts are helpful for defense mechanism. It is a helpful for the defense mechanism. Again, when we have to observe in the paramecium, there are the two nucleus are the present. There are the two nucleus. One is the larger, we have to call mega nucleus. Another one is the very smaller. It is present in the cavity of this large nucleus. We have to call them. There is the micronucleus. It is the micronucleus. So mega nucleus and micronucleus. Here in the paramecium, there are the two contractile vacuoles present. One is the anterior side and second one is the posterior side. The anterior side contractile vacuoles we have to see here, and second one is the posterior side. So we have to call them anterior contractile vacuoles, second one is the posterior contractile vacuoles. Actually, these contractile vacuoles are helpful for the osmoregulation. And basically we should know that the osmoregulation, it means the maintain the water balance inside the body. And again, the contractile vacuoles, they can also helpful for to remove the nitrogenous waste products. Here when we have to observe these contractile vacuoles, they can release their substances outside the body through the discharge canals, through the discharge canal. So here we have to discuss on the third one specimen in our practical. There is the paramecium. There is the paramecium. And typically in our syllabus theory lectures, we have to discuss the paramecium caudatum. Why? Because of here we have to observe the cilia which are the posterior end, it have the long and it is look like there are the caudal tuft. So that's why we have to call them, it is a paramecium caudatum. Okay. Next one, and the last examples in this phylum and the practical, there is the Plasmodium species. Actually, what is the Plasmodium? Plasmodium is a parasite. It is a protozoan parasite. And typically we should know that it is a commonly known as a malarial parasite. It is a commonly known as a malarial parasite. Actually, this Plasmodium is a genus, and the various species here we have to observe. There is the Plasmodium vivax, malaria, falciparum, ovale. These are the few species of this Plasmodium or the protozoan parasites, but we have to typically known as a malarial parasites. Both are responsible for to spread the malaria. Okay. And it is found in the mosquito. It is found in particularly the mosquito is a carrier. It is a vector, and it carries the diseases from one person to another or one animal to another through this vector mosquito Anopheles. So we should know that it is a popularly known as a malarial parasite. There is the Plasmodium species. They have to show that the such 4 species. Here we have to discuss on the classification. There is the phylum Protozoa. It means unicellular microscopic organism. Subphylum Plasmodroma. Why? Because locomotion, it is helpful through by the pseudopodia. Class is the Sporozoa. It's very important character because of here we have to observe internal parasites. Contractile vacuoles are absent. These Plasmodium are the endoparasite. It is particularly found inside the body of any type of animals. Also the mosquito, humans and many other animals, they can found that stage. Order is Hemosporidae. Why? Because it is a blood parasite. All the Plasmodium protozoan parasites are found in a blood. So that's why we have to call it is a blood parasite. Genus is a Plasmodium. And the species we have to observe already. There are the Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale. These 4 species are generally found in our area of that spreading. There is the malaria. Okay, it is a disease. Next one, habitat and habitat. The Plasmodium is generally is an intracellular blood parasite of human and causes the malarial fever. We should know that when the malaria it is found in any person, there is the infection of that malarial Plasmodium parasite. So it have there are the fever, it have the feeling the chill. Okay, so that's why we have to also call them. It is a malarial fever, and it is a transport by there is this Plasmodium, and it is a vector is a mosquito, Anopheles mosquito. It's when we have to discuss. There is a popularly known as there is a malarial parasite. It is popularly known as a malarial parasite. The tropozoite is in the rounded form. What these stages actually when we have to observe this diagrammatic representation, then you can simply know that there are the 2 phases. One is form. There are the 2 stages in the life of Plasmodium. One is the mosquito. They have to complete these stages in the mosquito, and second completed in there are the humans. Okay. When we have to observe, there are in any particularly in human body also, and also the mosquito, how they can transport. They are the first upon when we have to observe that the female anopheles mosquito, they can infected with there is the malarial parasites, and there is the plasmodium, and it can bites to the human and transmit there the infective form of the parasite. There is the sporozoites into there are the human blood. What is the sporozoite? Actually, the sporozoite, it meaning that infected stage or the spores of that protozoan parasite. Okay, the first upon this malarial, the plasmodium, it is found only in the Anopheles mosquito, and particularly in our area, Anopheles stephensi, Anopheles gambiae. These are the species which can helpful for to transport this disease. That the female Anopheles mosquito, it is infected with the malarial parasite, and they can bite to the human. That time it is a transport to that human. Next one, when we have to observe, uh, there is a second stage in this. Sporozoites, there are enter in the liver cells and multiply, forming the merozoites. There are the burst out of a liver cells. Here we have to observe the merozoite stage. It means the bursting stage. It means the bursting stage. When the female Anopheles mosquito bite to the humans, that time it is enters in the human blood, and it is a transferred from blood to the liver. And when it is enters in the liver, there are the infected with there are the liver cell. It means that the merozoite stage. Okay, so these sporozoites enter liver cell and multiply, forming there are the merozoites. That is the burst out of a liver cell. There is the burst out a liver cell. There is the infected with the liver cell. It is a merozoite stage. And second, here we have to observe merozoites, which are the enters in red blood cells and multiply. When we have to see here, it is a multiply, forming a new merozoites and developing into the gametocytic reproductive form. It means when it is the merozoites are the bursting in the liver, they can infected the red blood cells. There is the merozoitic stage, and the merozoites, it is enter into the red blood cells, and it is a multiply. It increases their number and forming the new one merozoites, developing into the gametocytes. Merozoites developing into the gametocytes. After that, what happened in the fourth stage, when this female Anopheles mosquito, it is a bite to that human which is infected by this Plasmodium species, and which are the in the merozoite stage, and it can transfer into the gametocytic stage. That time these new one vector mosquito, when they suck the blood of that infected person, it is as like a vector, or it is a carrier. So that time the female Anopheles mosquito, which can bite to that human infected with the plasmodium, taking up a gametocyte in the blood meal, and again they can sporozoites. It is the infected form which can develop from a gametocyte, travel into the salivary glands of that mosquito, and here we have to see there is a sporozoite stage. And again this infected mosquito again bite to the another person. They can transfer the sporozoite stage of malarial parasite and plasmodium into the new one person or other animal. So this one is the cyclic manner process, and the mosquito is a carrier or a vector for this malaria disease, and it is a blood parasites. So here we have to observe there are these two stages, and popularly we have to know that it is a plasmodium species. So here we have to observe that there is a this is a plasmodium. It is a malarial parasite, and here we have to observe them. They can have there are the such stages. So when the man can infected with this uh, female Anopheles bite, him inject there are the several sporozoite stage, and it is a communicating to other person to person, and it transfer the diseases. So here today's practical, we have to discuss on there are the four specimens which are included in there is the phylum Protozoa. There is the Euglena, Paramecium, Amoeba, and Plasmodium species. So thank you once again, and here we have to end our today's practical. We have to see next one practical. There is the phylum second Porifera. So thank you.